So I really want you to give the biggest cheer, the biggest round of applause, and blow the house off BTC Prague right now for Samantha de Waal for her talk this morning on Bitcoin and education. Please give it up to Samantha. Come on down, Samantha. Woo-hoo-hoo! Here she is.
Hi, everyone. I'm here to raise a very important matter to you today, if you haven't noticed already. I'm here to talk about rethinking education in a Bitcoin world. To start this off, I'd like to say, non scole sed vitae discimus. That's Latin, if you didn't know. It means it is not for school, but for life that we are learning. The point is that you shouldn't be focused on school for getting good grades. You should be focused on having to learn this for life, for the rest of your life. A lot of schools use it as a motto. A few of them actually live up to that motto, though. And very little actually remember it. Almost everyone forgets it, but me and my dad don't. I get good grades because I want my life to be good instead of having to have my teachers proud. Of course, I should probably introduce myself, as there are a few faces that I don't quite recognize. I'm Samantha de Waal, probably better known as Sam the BTC Kid, and I've been a Bitcoiner since birth. I was born at block height 117523. That's back in April 2011, if you didn't know. I'm half Kiwi, not the fruit, not the bird, but the person. I am half New Zealander and half German. I live in Germany, I was born in Germany, and I should be talking about education because I used to go to a private school, I now go to a public school, and I'm going to be homeschooling. Unfortunately, in Germany, homeschooling is illegal, so I'm not doing that yet. I can confidently say from being at public and private school that most schools don't teach about Bitcoin. It is very rare outside of El Salvador. Sadly, that's a sad fact, of course, because by ignoring Bitcoin, schools are failing to educate kids for their future. When fiat does blow up, which it will, the poor kids that never got exposed to Bitcoin are going to have a crisis. The point of education is, like I said before, non scole sed vitae discimus. It is not for school, but for life that we are learning. And no one can make you learn. You will have to want to learn. Education is just about putting the right information into your mind the right way. People have to decide that they want to learn this for the future. And most schools make learning pretty boring. I don't want to sit in a classroom and hear the teacher talk about somebody opening a red door in 1512 and why that impacted her life so bad. I want to learn actually important things for my life as an adult. So if I'm saying that schools are so bad, what other options are there? You've probably heard of homeschooling. Is that a good way to learn? You can't exactly ask me because I've never been homeschooled, because, as said, it's sadly illegal in Germany. But in a lot of cases, it's probably great, as long as there's two big major things that you have to remember. Number one, the parents need to be more active in making sure the child learns. You shouldn't monitor your child 24/7, that's not good, but you gotta be active into making sure that your child learns the right things. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet. And number two, of course, don't over-monitor your children. You have to accept the fact that we children can learn on our own. Homeschooling is a responsibility for the parents, but also a responsibility for the children. We Bitcoiners are usually open-minded, so we are more happy to accept new ideas, and homeschooling is honestly all about it. The children can learn the stuff that they want to in their way. And obviously, don't indoctrinate your kids, because when they're older, they're going to fall for shitcoins and stuff, so don't do that, please. In Germany, like I've said, in Germany, homeschooling is sadly illegal because Germany has a so-called Schulpflicht. Austria the official laws there also do describe a Schulpflicht, but what they're really trying to say there is a Bildungspflicht, which means there's a requirement that kids have to be educated, but not that they have to physically walk into a school. And you might think, hey, Sam, there are a lot of countries probably that homeschooling is illegal, so it's nothing to stress about. But there's actually not. Homeschooling is allowed, in fact, in most of the world. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't do schooling in combination with other things. After I go home from school, my dad always teaches me whatever I want, whenever I want to have some things teach to me. I just go up to him and ask, hey, Dad, can you teach me about this cool thing today? Can you teach me about cryptography today? You know, stuff like that. In fact, I think learning at home, learning the way that I want to learn instead of my teacher having a set curricula, is more fun. And there are so many things to learn anyways. And here's a little secret for you guys. We kids are better in learning for ourselves than having things said to us the perfect way. We shouldn't memorize things the perfect way from word to word, how you imagine it. We should have our own minds. For a start, for example, there's some beautiful YouTube channels out there. Like, personally, I love Anita Posh's videos, and BTC Sessions is really great at explaining things too, so shout out to them. But there are so many more, and everyone has their own opinion. I can only talk about mine. You should find things suit for you. And of course, there's a lot of books. If you were at my presentation last year, I was talking about children's books, but there are also a lot of great adult books. There's books that's basically like Bitcoin for idiots, and you just have to see what mindset you or your kids are at to what you want to read. And of course, learning about Bitcoin isn't just learning about Bitcoin. Learning about Bitcoin is learning about the world. When I hear on the news that some country's going through some economical crisis, obviously, that relates to Bitcoin, and I think about that. In fact, almost anything relates to Bitcoin. Let's take, for example, what I learned in school. In school, I have history as a subject. Why not just learn about the history of money and what's Bitcoin's place in that? Obviously, everything that teachers say isn't always true. Teachers, even if they excel, if even a math teacher can be wrong about things, if a math teacher tells you 1 + 1 is 3, I'm sorry to inform you, but if you think 1 + 1 is 3, you're wrong. It's actually 2. Yeah. Like we Bitcoiners always say, don't trust, verify. That goes for homeschooling, that goes for any schooling, that goes for anything in the world. You should check with other sources that what you're trying to learn here online is actually correct. Now, quickly talking about orange pilling schools. Like I've said, the schools have a set curricula, and the curriculum comes from the government, so it's really hard to change that. You might think that it's hard to get Bitcoin education into the school, but there are some tricks that you can just use. For example, like I've said, you can try and get the history of money into your history class. Math class, Bitcoin is full of interesting maths. For younger kids, maybe you can try and have them figure out how much block subsidy is at a particular block height. Or for older kids, maybe have an introduction to cryptography. And Dad, I'm still waiting for you to have me introduce that, so shout out to you, please do. I've been asking you. Physics, computer studies, social studies, there's a bunch of them. Art class. Honestly, just do what you think is best. If you've read the book, or if you've heard about it, Billy's Bitcoin, it's an amazing book about orange pilling a school. A kid, I'm gonna just give you like a quick summary here. A kid, Billy, gets bullied, and he always gets his lunch money taken off of him. Then his dad gives him the idea of using Bitcoin. That way, his lunch money can't be stolen anymore. And when the cafeteria or kiosk is orange-pilled, not only will the people working there be orange-pilled, but also the teachers and students that are going to buy stuff from there. They will think, oh yeah, what's that? Bitcoin accepted here? That's interesting. That's always the way to do it, because we humans are naturally curious. You can also orange-pill schools on a bunch of other things. So, like I said before, try and figure out what's best for you. I can only talk about my opinion here. And as I've said a lot here, is about kids. I've talked about kids, I've talked about me, but parents really need to improve as well. I think of the last presentations of mine in El Salvador and last year here, I haven't really mentioned it so much, but parents really need to improve. Bitcoin in education isn't just about kids, it's about parents. So especially you parents in the audience, please do listen. The best way to teach things, to learn things, is to teach them. Because teaching them doesn't only help your kids have learned whatever you want to teach them, but it also teaches you about teaching for the future. It helps you being able to teach the way you want to and the way that your kids like it. Like I've said, everyone has different opinions and everyone likes it a different way. So you parents out there, please do follow this advice. Find out what your kid likes. If you don't know what your kid likes, you're probably failing as a parent. That's kind of it. Also, learning about one thing without knowing what you're learning about is really damn boring. So do actually give a little bit of history why your kids are learning about Bitcoin. Because I've noticed a lot that parents just say, oh yeah, Bitcoin is good, so you should use it to their kids. And then their kids have a wallet of Satoshi or whatever with having their pocket money paid in sats. That's cool on one hand, but on the other hand, they don't know what to do with it. The modern society sadly doesn't accept Bitcoin yet. So that's cool. My dad uses this. Some people at work use it, but it's just not my thing. That completely sums up my presentation. Do follow me on Twitter, please. If you have any questions or comments, do message me on Telegram. And I would not mind a few sats, because there are some amazing merch things here that I've been buying, so I kind of need a refill on that. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.